Pierre-Yves Bourduas is the former RCMP Deputy Commissioner, and he joins me now. PY, it's good to see you again.
Pleasure indeed, David.
So you've had a look at this video. What are your impressions of what we saw there?
Well, one has to first and foremost understand how the PM protective policing details is. There's normally the events that will just ensure that everything is copacetic and safe for the PM to move into a specific area. Then you have layered guards, like the immediate protection, and then you have the convoy. And then from watching this video, this particular Ontario Provincial Police officer seems to be far removed. And he's probably at the third layer of this particular event on the Toyota plant. Mm-hmm. And normally with these types of events, the people that are very removed are asked to displace and cover other areas if the PM happen to move in some areas. So what it tells me there is because this OPP is still located at this particular location, it's because it's meaningful and he still has a job to do and to be approached by someone and share information with regards to the movement of our Prime Minister and also expressing an opinion about public policies is somewhat far removed from what Canadian would expect of a police officer that should remain totally neutral when being approached by citizens, right? Because it's part of their ethics, if you want.
Okay, so let's walk through this in a couple of components, and let's start with the political statement that he made, where he said to the protester, "I'm with you guys." Now, there may be a lot of police officers and a lot of Canadians who feel the way they apparently do about the Prime Minister's office, but is that proper conduct when you're in uniform and assigned as part of the protective detail of the Prime Minister? How do you look at that as a former Deputy Commissioner?
Well, it's deeply troubling to me because police officers are to uphold the law of our country, and therefore needs to be far removed from any political opinion, because you don't know who you're managing, who you're dealing with. What you have to bear in mind also is that police officers are trained to de-escalate. Okay, so therefore, a police officer might indicate to someone, yes, I appreciate your opinion. However, sir, I'm asking you to move, or sir, I'm asking you to, but to indicate to someone and go even to the point where, yes, I agree, yes, and then they started exchanging, opinions about the current Prime Minister and public policies is far beyond de-escalating, in my opinion.
Okay, so the commentary crossed the line in your view. What about the information he gave the person who was filming this, where they said, is he here? He goes, yeah, the Prime Minister, he went in through there. Now, people would have seen that. They would have seen his convoy. The Prime Minister, I've been at these events, right? He makes a big impression when he shows up, so people would have seen that. He didn't say where he was coming out or when he would be coming out. So is there a security risk in giving that kind of information?
Good point, David. However, what you have to bear in mind is, again, if this police officer is still there, one could potentially assume that if he drove through this particular gate, then he might still be coming out from this gate because the police officer hasn't been relocated to other locations. So therefore, is it just to cordon off the area where the Prime Minister is, or is it something more, whereas, yes, he entered this particular area and just might come out the other way? So therefore, in my opinion, you do not share any information with regards to the whereabouts, where the Prime Minister has been, or where he could potentially go.
So how does that affect the whole security operation? Because your assessment where we began, you suggested he's probably in that third level of protection, that third circle of protection, which is more, I guess, scene control and maybe traffic control. He's not in the close protection unit with the Prime Minister. Does it create an operational risk, or is it just an inappropriate thing?
It is an inappropriate comments with regards to the behavior. Right. And what is more, that the individual clearly indicated that he was actually filming this exchange. So therefore, this police officer seems to be a seasoned officer, should have been, alarm bells should have gone off, and therefore be very guarded in his comments with regards to political opinion or the whereabouts of the PM, and to confirm that indeed the PM is still there because I'm still here kind of deal.
So you and I talked a lot during the convoy here in Ottawa about the police response or lack of police response, certainly in the views of the residents of the downtown core, and even in some of the repeat protests we've seen in this place and in others. I mean, I was at a cabinet retreat in Hamilton a couple of years ago where people were shooting fireworks at the hotel the Prime Minister was staying in, and nobody got arrested. On the side of de-escalation was the argument. Similar stuff happening here in Ottawa recently. There's been a criticism that they're too easy, the police are, on this group of protesters. Then you see a video like this where a police officer is expressing sympathy. How do you think the public views this, that there's a lack of police action against some of the convoy-adjacent movements, and then moments like this?
Well, you have to look at the much broader picture, whereas our elected officials, in my opinion, are under attack now. If you look at what happened to Chrystia Freeland, you look at what happened to other ministers and elected officials nationwide, it's deeply troubling. I know for a fact that the RCMP have increased their protection of some elected officials. It's quite obvious when you walk downtown Ottawa, but therefore there need to also be consequences for people that are actually, in my opinion, attacking our democracy through our elected official. So therefore, there needs to be maybe consequences, serious consequences, if anyone is caught, attacking some of our elected officials, because it's the bedrock of our democracy. Whereas if elected officials do not feel protected, then there are serious issues with regards to the way they address the public.
Yeah, but how do you think those elected officials who rely on police officers to be protected might feel when someone assigned to a Prime Minister's protective operation is saying, I'm with you guys, I agree with you guys? I mean, it seems like it would shake some confidence a little bit. How do you view it?
Well, it's troubling, and as you've indicated, David, we've commented on the occupation here in Ottawa, whereas officers have also shared their view with protesters, and then one has to ask, what are the consequences for the officers? And my understanding is the Ontario Provincial Police is looking at this particular incident and having that there will be a follow-up investigations in relation to their code of ethics and how this police officer interacted with this particular protester.
What do you think the remedy is there, PY, just as a final point? When you see something like this in a moment like this, what do you think the remedy or repercussions, if there are any, for this officer might be?
Well, the officer will have his day to explain, his reasoning, his thinking, which he's entitled to. But the fact of the matter is, and that's what I'm concerned with, is the perception of the public. Whereas officers need to remain neutral in their dealings with the public, just to ensure that the public has full confidence in officers that are protecting our elected officials.
P.Y. Bourduas, always good to speak with you. Thanks for taking the time today, sir.
My pleasure. Take good care, David.